Good evening, everyone. I'm actually starting on time, and I am hoping that this means, oh, hey, Johnny Big Time streaming. Should I just go watch him instead? But I'm hoping that this is the start of a trend of a lot of properly on time, well done streams. Actually got a surprising amount done today, work-wise, and I have a feeling so this has nothing to do with the workplace itself and a little bit more about how I'm managing my own time, but I had some stumbles today, but overall I feel like I got through the work that I needed to do at a fairly decent clip without too many interruptions. And what I'm hoping is that I'm going to carry that both to work, but also, just some of the stuff that I do on the side, whether it's, just some of the data stuff that I do or the others. And what I'm hoping that translates into is basically a little bit more free time before I start the broadcast, because generally what will happen is that I'm trying to cram everything in all at once. Everything sort of compounds, and I find myself in a situation where I'm scrambling to start the stream, or I'm willingly deciding to start the stream later so that I can get something that I had put off earlier done. So one way or the other, though, I'm not going to pay you all off with being on time by spending the time talking about things that aren't Stellaris. So let's load up the game and we will get started. For those of you who weren't here on Friday, I managed to beat the Darkest Dungeon for the very first time. That is a heck of a game. But I will confess, I'm actually a little lost as to what to do with the spare day. We've got a new Industries of Titan update coming on Tuesday. Oh my goodness, that's tomorrow. All right, I might have a late night tonight, I think. Yeah, so there's definitely more Brace Yourself stuff coming out. And I certainly have no shortage of stuff that I would like to play. But I don't know. We'll see where it all goes. I also don't know if I mentioned this, but I stupidly turned on the dishwasher. I can't even remember how close to stream, but close enough that there's probably some noise in the background going on. My apologies for that. If it's a bit of an annoyance, it won't be there the whole time. But right. I will confess, though, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, so I am still feeling a little loopy. So it looks like I have some unemployment to deal with. Now, the big event from last stream. We successfully destroyed the Grey Tempest. The drawback is that was a hard-fought victory. So we definitely need to start rebuilding our fleet. In fact, it's something that I would potentially be willing to throw a lot of money at to accomplish. Currently, we're getting 682. I think what I'm going to do here, let's just raise the amount that we're buying. So we'll bring that up to 80. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just take a quick look at the overall design of the fleet. I think we already worked this out, but it's not... I don't think it's a bad idea for me to just take a second and verify we are where we want to be. Okay, yeah, so we've accounted for 100. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take a second and... I've got some notes here already, but I'm going to just take a second and... work this out for myself. So my ideal fleet would help if I didn't use my eraser. So 30 corvettes, 15 destroyers, 8 cruisers, 4 battleships, and a Titan. And that should be true for everyone. Believe I only have space for 3 Titans, if memory serves. Yes. So, actually, with that in mind, the Getherica Void Skulkers, I should probably make those. Okay, actually, here's a neat idea. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the first... Actually, let's make it the Kotala Void Skulkers. Okay, so battleship, 2 cruisers, 3 destroyers. Let me just work that out. Okay. So we'll take out 1 battleship, 2 cruisers, 3 destroyers, and then 9 corvettes. Okay, so these guys are going to combine with the Kotala. And the Kotala is going to set itself up at the terminal egress. These 2 are going to head back to the capital world. Looks like that's already happening. And what I'll do is I will start by combining the Getherica. That fleet will go into these 2. So what I want to do is I want to get my 3 main fleets back up and running. And in fact, I think the next thing I'm going to deal with will be to work out. So the Kotala. So I need 4 battleships, 4 cruisers, where were we? 4 destroyers and 12 corvettes. And the Kugel needs 3 battleships, 3 cruisers, 8 destroyers. Oh my god. And 25 corvettes. So that's 7, 7, 12, 37. And then if I cannibalize the Getherica, so we subtract 3 battleships, 6 cruisers, and there's no destroyers or corvettes there, so the final tally would be 4 battleships, 1 cruiser, 12 destroyers, 37 corvettes, and then 3 Titans. Which I should double check to see whether or not I can actually build yet. I suspect we still need to upgrade the shipyard. Yeah, we're still on our way to upgrading to a citadel. So, next question. What am I building? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, looks like we're already on track, so good there, good there. Got 1 destroyer on the way. 2. Okay, so I need 10 destroyers and 37 corvettes when all is said and done. we'll leave that be for now. So remembering, so I should probably be a little careful with my alloys as well, because I'm going to want to sort of just, I want to claim everything in the L cluster immediately to stop the Techris link from being able to take it from me. So priority number one definitely is to actually claim my prize. I definitely want to get the L cluster for myself. And obviously I'm dedicating science ships, construction ships. Everybody's working on that right now. Secondary consideration. I want to finally be able to take on these guys. Now, right now they count as superior fleet power, but that's kind of a product of the fact that I had to give up a lot in order to defeat the Grey Tempest. In fact, I suspect I probably don't count as, yeah. So I would be I'd sort of be outvoted on the Galactic Council if this was being decided right now. But of course, we'll be back in terms of our naval capacity. I'm actually slightly curious if we are in violation of less than half of naval capacity. So half of naval capacity for us is 240, so we're just on the edge. But yeah, I definitely want to watch those numbers. So clearly the first thing we want to do is claim the L cluster, because what were we fighting for if we didn't do that? I do eventually want to expand a little bit better, but I don't know. I'm in a tough spot in terms of figuring out exactly how many more sectors I want to sort of add to my, or how many systems I want to add within my borders. Again, we have a pretty high, we've got a pretty high empire size to begin with, and I'm getting a bit better at getting my my science up, but I think I'm still kind of paying for it, I guess, for lack of a better term. But we'll see where that goes. Essentially, what I want to see is what does my navy look like once we're in a position to rough up the Loxongrak-Va Royal States. Am I in a situation where the they count as being weaker than me, and so I can sort of force them to become a vassal? Or am I in a situation where I want to do sort of the humiliation casus belli on them? Because, of course, at that point, then we can get my really strong neighbors to kind of go in and beat them up a little bit, which is definitely that's not a bad outcome at all. The other thing I want to allow for is there definitely have been a few events which have indicated that there's going to be some kind of a robot rebellion. Also, alternatively, we do know that there are, there's marauders in the galaxy. So if the Great Khan wakes up again, all of a sudden, all those plans that I had for galactic domination kind of take back seat. How you doing, Olaf? I actually had this really funny moment. There's someone I knew from, I don't think it was grad school. I think it was actually undergrad, but anyways, economists, they're doing a PhD. And we occasionally get in touch. But on my Steam list, I saw them playing Ark, and then they moved to Elder Scrolls Online. And for some reason, I thought it was Ariella. Their profiles aren't all that close, but I think it was the fact that I saw them move out of Ark. So I actually opened up the chat and was getting ready to type in all capital letters that this was an Ark, until I realized that it was not Ari, and that I was about to make a complete idiot of myself for a very inside baseball kind of joke. But I hope you're doing well, Olaf. Always happy to see you. I'm hoping that this is a sign of things to come as far as consistent start times. So we'll see. I still don't know what I'm playing on Friday. Also, I've got my coffee tea. You're suffering a bit today? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Olaf. I don't want to say I don't worry about you. But I'm actually very invested in you, like, being okay. I think it's because I know the level of support that you've given some people that I know. and how that hasn't always been like rewarded, I guess, for lack of a better term. So I don't know, I don't want to sound like some kind of a mother or something, but well, I've indirectly done a Darkest Dungeon torchless run. I haven't done it torchless the whole way though. But yeah, no, I'm sorry to hear things are. I'm sorry to hear things aren't 100%. And like I said, I don't want to like. You're obviously you're an adult, like you're a grown up. So it's always a little bit weird to be like, oh my Olaf Schnuggums, I hope you're okay. Like, you know, obviously I don't want it to be overwrought, because I think you already kind of know my attitude on a lot of Twitch stuff. Like, Twitch does really have the strong tendency where like everything is either like the best ever or the worst ever, and there's never ever anything in between. You know, sometimes it's just enough to say, I hope you're all right. And yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry health isn't there, because I don't know, like I definitely take my good health for granted. So when I'm not feeling 100%, even if it's just like a little cold, I am just completely inconsolable. I am like the biggest baby whenever it comes to like feeling good. Like I will complain about the most minor nonsense, because I really completely fail to appreciate what good health is like in that moment. So anyway, so it's a war game. There's lots of reasons to have a big scary navy, but the main reason why in addition to just sort of rearming, we do actually have genuinely two major threats that we may need to face down. That's either a robot rebellion or the potential of the Great Khan waking up. If we don't have that, then I get to be the bully and potentially take on the Loxongrak-Va Royal States. I'm actually also probably strong enough to take on this coalition of the Enlightened Kingdom, Miravandia, Imperial Sons, and Confederation of Zako. The only drawback here is that it doesn't, like, you kind of want to think, well, what's the natural, like, expansion point for that, right? Like, it's not like I share a border with any of them. The only people I share a border with are my long-standing allies and my long-standing rivals. Now, the L-Gate may change that. So yeah, we can sort of claim the Enlightened Kingdom. Huh. I wish it would give me the option. Like, I know if I bring a ship in there, I wish there was a better way of identifying all the L-Gate exits. I can do it, I just don't know if I want to do it right now. Yeah, so I mean, this is pretty close. This is already within my territory. This is a tempting one to expand to because of the living metal. I might even actually try and go for it, but I know my construction ships are currently occupied. No, let's stick to the plan. Sorry, I need a minute to think. So, yeah, I don't know. In the absence of like a better... In the absence of like a real, like, I gotta get this one kind of expansion point. The other thing that I can do with my big fleet is take out the Stellarite Devourer. Might even be able to get a hit on Shard. I believe Shard is actually... So that's not a Leviathan in the traditional sense, as it was... Vivi Viva was a site that we were looking to explore. These guys got it sort of ahead of time. And so if I want, I can sort of try and go after the dragon. Chase the dragon, as it were. And I suppose if I wanted to just like go beat stuff up, I could take out like the mining drones and such, but that's not as big of a priority. Like, that's just more because I can do it. Like, taking out Leviathans will give me things like trophies or other worthwhile, kind of other worthwhile side effects. I wonder if I can see the Tianki matriarch. Yeah, there it is. I can't remember if it's the Tianki matriarch that's got like the Moby Dick references in it. Some very good models in this. Anyways, so we have an insatiable desire for alloys for the next little while. Moving right along, we've got Subra Station with population overflow. Let me just take a quick second here. Oh. That's kind of an unexpected outcome. Let's see the one with the largest number of... Yeah, Zygar. Okay. Zandaban, I think I've always wondered about what I want to do. So we've got our generator. Oh, actually, yeah. So there's one obvious thing that I can do, which is to boost up the energy nexus. In fact, all of the generator worlds should get one of those upgrades. Do I really have just the one generator world? Shame on me. Oh, look at those beautiful 100%. Holy crap, what's going on here? Fascinating. Okay. I mean, in a pinch, I can start upgrading the tech worlds. So this one's generating 111 to 125. This one's definitely generating more. Mind you, it's because it has more... How about if I look at my specialists... This is 100% robotics. I don't know, it looks like these ones are a little bit more efficient. So, I've got... Just want an idea of... Okay, so I can do up to 5 more. I'll probably just do 4. We'll start with 3 here, just because we're going to have... Also, I've got the Ascension Tier 1, so I suppose that's a small bonus there. Now, I do want to get my... So, there's 2 things I want to do. I want to get my research up, and that will be through either generating habitats or improving worlds where I've already got research going on. There's a few different things that I can do on that, kind of on that side of the ledger. The other thing I could try and do is reduce the effects of empire size. So it might help to think a little bit about what's causing that number to be so large. Well, the largest contributor by far is population. So if you look at it, 545 pops, that's currently contributing 379.6. So we've already got domination traditions and psionic theory. So in this case, we're already in a point where we're seeing reductions on empire size because of population. But even then, right, if you take another 10% off of that number, we're probably seeing like the largest reduction that I can achieve from any given improvement. Second on the list would be colonies, and then following that is districts. Now, the fact of the matter is that districts and pops, like, those are just going to be things that I always keep making. Like, there's just no way that I'm going to stop doing that, because if I stop doing that, I'm going to, like, I've stopped growing. I'm not really accomplishing anything. I'm not going to be able to outgrow it. So the real question here is just whether or not I'm able to get the balance right. And the biggest consequences for my empire size right now are those technology costs and those tradition adoption costs, particularly the tradition adoption. So one consideration right now is just simply to see where I can, can I build systems, can I build buildings that are going to be really ramping up my unit, like my Unity generation or my science, like my research. If that's what I'm going to use the world for, there's no question I should expand out to there. If, on the other hand, this is going to be something where it's like, well, I really want this for all of the alloys, that's still fine to build, right? I still want to be able to support a very large navy and be able to achieve all of that. All of those priorities, but I also need to make sure that when I'm building something like a Forge world, that I also want to make sure that I'm building sort of these Unity buildings and that I'm building these science buildings as well, and that I'm kind of running them efficiently. If you can just give me a second here, I actually really need a sip of tea, otherwise I'm gonna cough up my throat or something. I don't know the right way to put it, but I really need a sip, so I'll be back in a second. Okay, that hit the spot. But yeah, that's kind of my bigger expansion plan. The good news is that we do actually have a few stations which are going to be enlarged. I can also start taking a look at some of my other worlds, and I can start using some of the influence and other resources to be able to embiggen them because of my my ascension perks. But that's going to be sort of that's a more secondary, that's kind of a secondary problem. For now, let's just settle with what I think we're in a good spot. I want to focus on restoring the Navy first. So yeah, let's just unpause and see where we're at. So yeah, like Zandaban, one of the temptations is to just like throw down a bunch of sorry, what am I trying to say? Like Unity buildings and such. But there are other things that I can do as well. I could do, for instance, like I could turn it into a refinery planet, so we could do things like the crystal plants and such.
Boom! We built something.
Oh. Well, it got away. All right, we are repealing buzzword standardization, so I definitely want to see this one fail, but again, I'm in one of my weaker voting states, so it's an open question as to whether or not... Well, looks like most of the galactic community's on my side on this one, so... This, of course, gives me another reason to keep building up the... Okay, that's good. We will now upgrade them to the latest designs. Are you in great physical pain, or is that your thinking expression?
Another bleeding-edge technology discovered.
Okay, we'll deal with the event first, then we'll see the tech. A question. Labor overseers on Kefroth 1 report a disturbing development among our robotic workforce. 2 weeks ago, at roughly 0300 hours, robotic worker A5091B paused in the middle of its designated tasks, approached the Kefroth 1 night shift foreman, and uttered the following query. Is Unit A5091B in possession of a soul? The on-duty foreman logged the event as a software glitch and reordered the robot to resume regular functions. However, upon boot up the following work cycle, robotic worker A5091B once again repeated its soul-searching query and continued to persist despite multiple debugging attempts. Troublingly, the behavior appears to have spread to other robots in the same serial range, to the detriment of production flow. It appears the affected units will require a response to their question before they can resume normal function. So this is ridiculous. Have the affected units deep scrubbed or assure the robots that they too have souls. How can a machine have a soul? We refuse to dignify this malfunction with an answer. Okay, I just saw something go into that region, so that makes me a little nervous. Let me just make sure that we've got science ships. Yeah, they're working on it, but... Oh, nuts. There was an engineering project I should have seen. Okay. Well, we could do synthetics. The cheapest tech, though, is the kinetic battery, so we'll start with that. Our spotters have begun ingratiating themselves with targets we've marked as potentially useful. And actually, that reminds me, did we have my other envoy on something? It's the Confederation of Zacho. I think that is fine sort of staying the way that it currently is. Yeah, we're working up to 100%, so that's fine. The agreement we signed giving you access to our databanks has run its course. Would you like to extend it for another 10 standard years, or do your researchers no longer require the information we offer? So we will always extend the deal. It's actually probably just as well because I still have too much money. I think we're going to raise the purchase again. So we're down to 629. So, we'll see what that does to the monthly balance.
Ship status cutting edge.
Okay, that's good. So again, this is like my really scary fleet. This is the full except for the Titan design. Titan is one that I want to work on reasonably quickly. Actually, come to think of it, I can maybe start refactoring this to be less of a defensive... Well, I guess this is the tricky one, right? Like, we've got the shipyards here now, so the question would be, what would I replace them with? Anchorages probably make the most sense. I'm going to wait for now, but I can definitely see some logic in moving some of the things around.
Planetary exploitation forecast complete.
That's good news. We'll build the starbase right away. And I think we need to... Again, we want to start the survey of all the things that are... Yep. Governing ethics shift in the United Zakplot Confederacy. Okay, what I'm going to do as an intermediate move, I'm actually going to move the construction ship into this region. So you already know that they're trying to claim this territory. Hopefully we'll be able to finish the job in time.
Construction complete.
Okay, good news there. We'll build up the mining stations. I think we're going to do that in this region as well. Okay, so we've already got a science ship working this region. What I'm going to do here is get this ship to survey. We can afford to tell these ones to be evasive again. So the plan here is basically to make sure that I have a construction ship in place ready to build the base the second it becomes available.
Technology acquired.
We did one too many. Spymaster Vobodern reports having lost contact with his operatives on active deployment in the Loxongrakva Royal States. They have missed a number of their most recent scheduled check-ins. In accordance with standard procedure, we must now decide whether or not to track down our own operatives, so we can find them for a reduction in the infiltration. We can disavow, cancel the operation, and any unspent assets will not be consumed, and call in our local asset, but doing so would destroy the clerk, so we'll just find our operatives. Galactic Campaigns. Further improvements to administration grant an extended power projection across the stars, and the military clout needed to enforce our demands. Okay. Again, we're going to go for the lower tech where we can, for the simple reason that it helps us get that tech number up. Contact reestablished. Our efforts proved successful. Contact with our operatives have been restored. Spymaster Vodoburn is already working to review the monitoring procedures he has in place for work in the Loxongrakva Royal States.
Boom. We built something.
Okay, so I believe this is our citadel. So first priority, of course, is to get the Titan upgrade in place. So Titan assembly yards, I don't think we need anything else. Although obviously I'll do other upgrades at a later point. Should maybe just see if there's anything related to better... Yeah, we've already got the training academy, so that's fine. We don't have much in the way of defense in Kirox's private stash, which is maybe a little concerning. I think at the very least we should put some kind of token effort in the form of like a hangar bay. Although there's definitely something tempting about having a fourth shipyard, so I'm going to build one of those too. And I think we'll stick a deep space black site here just because it does give me extra unity. Okay, moving right along. First thing I should probably do is make sure that I've got my ships all lined up, because we're building a battleship, but I definitely need more than that. So, if memory serves, we needed 10 more destroyers and then a ton of corvettes. That was 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Let me make sure I got that right. Okay, good news there. And then 37 corvettes. So that's 20 more when the time comes. And a ton of unemployment to deal with. So I think in this particular case, that's an Atraxi. Oh, no, hang on, sorry, wrong species. I guess one of the things I could do with the surplus population is I could actually sell some of them as well. But I'm not quite ready. I kind of feel like if I have to sell my my pops like that, it probably means that I've messed up somewhere, and that I should have had like a better I should have had a better plan for managing human resources. Okay, hotfix. A breakthrough has just been made by our robotic engineering and artificial intelligence specialists. The recent slew of AI-related incidents afflicting our nation has been narrowed down to a single cause: a specific set of algorithms present in Kefroth 1 neurostimulative robotics software. A local hotfix has already passed initial testing and is ready to be uploaded to all affected systems. We should be careful to note that due to the extremely modular nature of the algorithm's application, their presence is extensive throughout Kefroth 1 software. Plainly speaking, managing the hotfix will place a drain on our resources for some time. Once completed, however, the patch should prevent any repeated occurrences of the undesirable self-deterministic AI behavior. So we can apply the patch at a reduction of 10% to physics, society, and engineering research, as well as a loss of energy and influence. Now, energy is not a big deal. Science kind of is, but I think in this case, we want to apply the patch. I cannot see a good outcome by failing to follow through on that. So, let me just make sure we haven't. Yeah. I kind of want to make sure that there's a pretty steady stream of sort of searching and claiming going on here. A short list of targets has been drawn up. Those operatives who are no longer tasked with surveillance will provide cover for the others. Okay, looks like I'll add another 10 to the consumer goods. And I'm going to try add another 20 to the alloys. I may not constantly be on that purchase, but in this particular case, I think it makes a lot of sense for me to just push that as hard as I can. Actually, with that in mind. Okay, that's another 8. I think that means I have 12 left. Oh, that's a worry there. If there's a science ship moving out into that next region. The thing I really need to worry about are the construction ships. Don't have enough Corvettes yet, but we're close. So I'm going to put this one on an upgrade just so that any of the remaining ships are going to wind up in the Kugel Void Stalkers. Hey, Buttons. Is it Slala?
Resource scan
All right.
complete.
Again, we want to lock that thing in as quickly as we can, and then we move on to the next system. So after this system's surveyed, I'm actually going to move on to Nemesis, and then we'll move on to the unknown system here. So what this is doing is that it's making sure that all of the attractive options to potential rivals are getting gobbled up by us first. We want to lock down the L cluster before we consider anything else. Oh, sorry, buttons Lala. I'm an idiot. I've never gotten it right whenever somebody comes in. Thank you very much for the follow.
Resource scan complete.
Okay, another big one. So I do still need to make sure that my alloys and my influence are in the right spot.
Aliens are reaching out.
Oh. Who wants to establish? The Mirovandi Imperial Sons want to establish an embassy. I'm okay with this, but we're probably going to wind up at war with them because we are basically the coalition that they're in, or the confederation that they're in. Get a like they're aligned with people who are sort of against our interests. Well, that's very kind of you to say. I know I play the game very slowly, but I'm delighted that people still find it. Are you a Stellaris streamer yourself, or just a Stellaris player? We aim to establish an embassy on Kirox's private stash for the future betterment of Mirovandian, the boys' diplomacy. So we'll agree to it. I don't see too much of a harm.
Wow.
I mean, there's
really hit this tech out of
there's kind of an espionage effect for it, but I'm not too worried about that. And a kinetic battery, a very long-range artillery capable of hurling powerful rounds over extreme distances with a large degree of accuracy. What do we have here? So, I mean, it is kind of tempting to go for living metal because it is sort of within my reach. But there are lots of cheap techs, and I do want to try and make my empire look more powerful on paper than it really is. So let's go for the mega cannon. Okay, so again, they're trying to steal my things, but we'll be in good shape. Stellaris super noob, always get wiped out, so you like to watch. Oh, great. Well, how about I put it to you this way, Buttonzala? So I'm fairly far into this playthrough. Good news is, if there's something that catches your interest, and you kind of want to know how I got to this point, all of the videos for this playthrough are on my YouTube channel. And they're actually part of a playlist. So if there's something that you're seeing and you're like, how on earth, did System Chalk get to, and then the thing that you want to do, pretty much my entire reasoning leading up to that moment is kind of a matter of public record. Now, I'm going to be the first one to say that it's probably not worth your time to watch the whole thing from the very beginning. But that's something that you'll have available to you. More importantly, while I probably wouldn't rank as a skilled Stellaris player, I am told that I do a decent job of explaining the game, and particularly sort of giving voice to, why I'm doing what I'm doing, or the approaches that I'm trying to take. So, for instance, we just beat the Great Tempest in excruciating detail. So if you have something that you've been struggling with, I want to, as much as I can, try and be able to help out in that sense, because that's really kind of gets to the heart of why I do what I do. So if there's something that you want explained, I'm happy to do that. I don't mind sort of putting things on hold to try and explain my reasoning. But if you just want to hang out and watch the playthrough as well, that's that's fine too. So it looks like the galaxy is united against the repealing of the buzzword standardization. And yes, okay, so we can denounce the Confederation of Zacho. I don't know if there was really a reason for me to do that other than the fact that they were weak and an option for me to vassalize. But I'll take it.
Boom. We built something.
Okay, so I do want to expand where I can into Hiklam, but it's more important for me to have a construction ship in a position to be able to capitalize on the system when I claim it. As the operation nears its conclusion, Spymaster Vodaburn has moved to secure our new asset within the Loxon Grakvan Royal States. Our remaining operatives are poised to facilitate any cover he may need. So we've approved that. I'm going to take a quick second here and upgrade at least some of the ships. And then let's get those last few corvettes done. I think I said I needed another 12. Asset acquired. Spymaster Vodaburned reports from the Lox Ungrak Royal States. A successful execution so far.
We built something.
We have lured an underappreciated member of the Lox Ungrak Van citizenry, whose attitude and contacts among the lower rungs of society are sure to aid our operations in various ways. Alright, so we're slowly rebuilding our capabilities inside this empire, so I need one more asset to be able to move up to 100%. That shouldn't be too hard, particularly because we've got a couple of assets here. This one probably is better. So we can tempt or coerce operatives and other assets who would be of use to our intelligence operations, recruiting them for a price. I don't mind sacrificing sort of the near-term visibility in order to be able to get... Ooh. This kind of looks like they might want to start something. Oh, they're probably going to go take out the Stellarite Devourer. Nope.
Boom. We built something.
Okay. But yeah, so I don't mind giving up sort of better eyes on what's going on inside here if it means that I'm going to have long-term a better spy network. But I do need to keep in mind that I'm a little bit weaker in terms of my ability to do things inside the Royal States than I would be under normal circumstances. Alright, Ripagaur is done, so we'll build our mining and research stations. And Campton will get its energy. Where's my other science ship? Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'll actually change this around a little bit. So it looks like they've actually finished their exploration here. This means that so if I see like a...
Anomaly found. Hey, can we monetize this?
We'll leave this be for now just because the research or the survey is the higher priority. Now, if it looks like there is a Tecarus construction ship in the region, I'll probably let it get to one of these two systems, but once it's in one of those systems,
Boom.
I need to...
We built something.
I need to basically close the borders. That'll have diplomatic consequences, but I definitely want to make sure that I control the L cluster.
We really pushed the envelope on these ships.
Okay, good. I think I said I was going to do those remaining corvettes at some point, so let's do that now. Was it really 12 I still needed to do? I feel like that's wrong. Yeah, there's 12 there. I'm going to leave this be for now.
Technology acquired.
Actually, what I am curious about... Oh, do we not have the assembly yards yet? What's going on here? Oh, 288 days. Alright, Jump Drive, a groundbreaking technological marvel. The Jump Drive shreds local time-space continuum and rearranges it on a quantum level to be identical to that of the target destination, and thus the ship appears to near instantly jump from system to system. We're ridiculously advanced for physics. Trying to decide if I like money more or shooty more. I think I'm going to do the energy credits first. I can always buy more alloys with the energy credits.
They're coming for our starbase.
Ah! This one always bugs me. The unprotected trade route that passes through the Subra system has attracted the attention of a roving band of pirates. These outlaws have gathered in a sizable fleet that is intercepting much of the system's trade. They must be dealt with. Okay, so we do have a nearby... We do have a nearby fleet. Let's say the... Okay, well, this already got messed up, so let's stop this. Let's take out 6 of the destroyers and 4 of the corvettes. And then go deal with the pirates.
Resource scan complete.
I'm also kind of curious. So, I mean, this is a pretty fearsome navy that that these guys are sitting on. So I do want to make sure I have my ducks in a row there. We count as being equivalent, but I really don't see a situation where we're eclipsing them like we used to. I definitely think we need to do a humiliation CB on them. The other alternative is I can actually try and take some systems off of them. So, for instance, for a while we've sort of relied on the fact that the Stellarite Devourer acts as kind of a sort of a de facto starbase for us. But, I mean, if they've got an equivalent fleet to us, there's absolutely nothing saying that they can't just go in and take the Stellarite Devourer, at which point they can bypass my main defensive position. A particularly mean move might be to claim this system. I mean, what I would do would be claim this system and then maybe, like, these three. So it gives me sort of the... Actually, the really mean one would be to, like, claim these and then this, because it winds up cutting them in half. I might do that just to be a jerk, actually. But then, actually, yeah, the problem is that if I want to manage that for myself after the fact, then that actually becomes a bit of a pain. So maybe I would just try and snip this off for myself. Chatlib actually... It's well defended, but I would get a mining station for my trouble. And Calsoch. I don't know. I'll figure this out. My priority is still the L cluster, obviously. Should have built that starbase the second it was available. So I think it's fair to say that we've got the L cluster to ourselves.
Liquidating foreign assets.
The Katala Voidstalkers have destroyed the pirate station in the Subra system and recovered the strong room module. Curiously, we did not lose any ships in that encounter. Who would have thought? I gotta get a construction ship repairing the lost energy. So again, the trade value in this area is just ridiculous. You know, even if I want to build star bases, like I've got a lot of work ahead of me to try and protect the trade, to say the least. Our spotters have begun ingratiating themselves with targets we've marked as potentially useful. Acknowledged, and we are drowning in minerals. Now that's an easy one for me to deal with. So we go to Zandaban and we finally decide what we want to do with this world. So why is the stability so low? Probably getting more clerks will solve... Well, clerks or enforcers. I'm going to say this isn't something I need to worry about right now. Now, I guess originally what I was going to do was try and use it for special... Oh, hang on. I didn't realize we had crystal mines available. Sorry, just taking a second here to make sure. Huh. I had no idea I was sitting on so much, or like so many resources here. That kind of messes around some of my plans, to be honest. We'll work with this for now. And then the good news there is that I'll actually be able to spend less on the crystals. Oop. I mean, that wasn't very expensive, but it's nice
We
to...
built something.
It's nice not to have to pay for it. Okay, we'll build these out. With the... oh, which one was been? Oh, the splitting the empire in half? Yeah. But they've been asking for it because they're my long-standing rival. So I think with the Nanites we can build a building which will give us some pretty good... I think it'll give us some pretty good techs or items or that. We'll worry about that later. For now, we've got too many science ships running around, so we'll just send one to explore. Again, this is really just kind of filling in the
Resource scan complete.
last few duties, but I do want to make sure that I lock. I want to make sure that I lock this down before I move on to any other considerations. How are we on our... Still can't build a Titan, huh? Yeah, we're close. Let's get our defenses up, so I'll do at least one ion cannon. Oh, that's right, I still need to... Okay, actually, now I'm well and truly out of things to do with my minerals, so in this case, we will just sell a whole lot of them. Oh, but now I need to find something to do with my energy credits. With that, let's say... Yeah, why not? I boosted the price too much, but that's fine. We'll work through it.
Technology acquired.
Xenomorph Army. From its cradle as a
Construction
purely
complete.
pharmaceutical venture, advancements in our understanding of the morphogenetic field allow for direct subconscious interfaces with organic units. All right, so again, we're going to go for the low-end tech just because I'm probably going to be doing other things to hurt the Loxon Grakva Royal States, but the least that I can do, I suppose, is at least try and move towards that point where I'm eclipsing them technologically and militarily. So in this particular case, just trying to get as many, like, raise the floor of my overall tech level. If I've got 140 for each fleet, that would mean that I've got 420 in my fleet. Yeah. I'll go for the naval capacity for starters. If I can get that 4th Titan, I'd be super happy. I just don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Aerostat Colonies. A ruined network of Aerostat colonies dating back to at least 3 millennia can be found in low orbit of this gas giant. Their original function appears to have been gas mining, but they have since been abandoned and reoccupied by many different races and pirate groups. The colonies have been thoroughly stripped of anything even remotely valuable, but the mere fact that they are still aloft after all this time makes them an interesting subject of engineering research.
Planetary exploitation forecast complete.
Okay, I kind of got caught unawares, so I'm going to have to move that ship out now. We'll send everybody back to automatic surveying at this point. But the rest of this is just going to be sort of cleaning up the remaining upgrades in the L cluster. And at this point, we need to start building some Titans and then making the move on our neighbors. So at this point, we should have...
Ships upgraded.
Where are we? Yes. Oh, expensive.
Boom.
Okay,
We built
so we're waiting a while on building those Titans, but that's fine. 35 of 30. Well, that's not right. All right, they opened the embassy with me and then decided we have allowed you to move about freely in our territory for too long. Today we draw the line. All right. So there's going to be a couple upgrades that I need to get done before too long. But for now, again, I'm just setting all my science ships out to basically just fill in whatever gaps there are in the galaxy. Looks like I may still have the opportunity to claim this living metal, so I think I'm gonna give it a shot. I do need to kind of I do need to pick like a clear endpoint for my expansion. This probably has to be it. So maybe like one here and then Derelian. Voldox is really tempting, but there's more than one way in that way. I mean, the alternative is that I take a border right up next to the Merovingia Imperial Suns and we... Oh, I think I know why they did this. It's so that they can lock my science ship inside here. I mean, I can try and push the border out so that we're sharing a border with them, and that gives me justification to invade, I suppose. We kind of already have it through the Vaji Maelstrom, but yeah, I don't know. We'll think about it. Again, it depends whether or not we can beat these guys up easily or not. Oh. Okay, cool. We're back where we need to be. So council elections imminent. We're still sort of the third position on the Galactic Council, but we are outdoing the Loxon Grakva royal states. Working on it. A short list of targets has been drawn up. Those operatives who are no longer tasked with surveillance will provide cover for the others. Good. Simple expansion. It's a goodwill mission. We have lots of goodwill. We needed to express that goodwill through our battleships. I guess I kind of shot my chances of getting that last Titan. I do actually want to get that thing built soon. Oh no, we've already got our 3 down. Okay, that's fine. I might start building some more battleships and such just for a 4th fleet.
Resource scan
complete. And I can build another starbase. So there's I have a tricky puzzle as far as the extra starbase is concerned. I can try and build some inside the systems here and hope that that's going to try and put some of the piracy at bay. The alternative, actually, the better thing for me to do, I think, is just to take a fleet and move it through the offending systems. That's honestly probably the better option. I think this is the one that was, trapped. But we should have we can just initiate a jump to friendly territory.
Construction complete.
That's not in my territory. Okay, we'll start moving the construction ships back to my territory. We got a few things that we lost to pirates a while ago.
Boom. We built something.
And the Senate has voted and failed to repeal buzzword standardization. Happy to do that. All right, so we hit our big milestone here. The L cluster is now mine. We've got a couple of construction ships working on improving our state there, but generally it's where it needs to be. Now, there is one problem with this particular base, and it's just simply the fact that I do have all these defensive structures in place, and I'll build building some ion cannons and that. But it seems that it doesn't really matter because people can just go through the L gate and completely ignore this fortification, which is admittedly not a desirable feature of any defense. I am still going to build up all of my different bases, so I think in the case of terminal egress, I do want to have that base as strong as it can possibly be. But I'm fully acknowledging the limitations of this as a protective environment. Honestly, the rest of this really is just a matter of I want to try and isolate the enemy units. Actually, with that in mind, because I've now claimed the L cluster, I am going to start claiming some territory. So if I said I want one of these, and one of these, and one of these, and one of these, and one of these, could I also claim one of these? I could. I guess the question is, do I want another planet in my my little sphere? Couldn't hurt. It's a decent choke point. So instead of doing a humiliation casus belli, I just sort of nibble off a few more sections of their empire, and then what we'll probably do is we'll move the Takvan base. We'll move that somewhere else in their space. All right, Mega Cannon, an enormous mass accelerator cannon that can only be placed in a spinal mount that fires monstrously powerful rounds over vast distances. Let's do either Marauder missiles or Devastator torpedoes. We'll do Marauder missiles for a start. And we are still on the council. The Confederation of Zaco has vassalized the Zakplot People's Union. They have given up their freedom in exchange for safety. Oh, there they are. Okay.
Ship status, cutting edge.
At this point, I'm pretty much just automatically upgrading most of these fleets. I do want to get one of them on patrol, though. We've got 2 years before these Titans are ready to go. Oh, wow. I did not realize that the ion cannon took up more than one... So it says we're already at capacity, which implies that the ion cannon is worth 8 defensive platforms. I was originally going to build 3 of those. I wonder where it says that cost. Huh. Hey, Stradrones. I am doing my best. We did get the L cluster, which is nice. I've got some unemployment problems, but we're criminal turtles, so unemployment isn't as big of a deal. Let's actually get that settled now. So Zandaban's got the greater opening. Caster, where are you? So again, there is eventually a point where I can maybe start buying or selling slaves on the marketplace and maybe trying to customize my planets a little bit better. But for now, I'm just happy to have bodies generating more, more goods and services for me. Actually, yeah, it's been a while since I've done the biography. So admittedly, the biography for this species is not my favorite story that I've come up with. But for those of you curious about what species I'm playing here, we're playing the Natraxian Rum Runners. So they are a criminal syndicate. So they are a megacorp. They are authoritarian, fanatic militarists. Their civics are criminal heritage. This megacorporation can trace its origins back to a crime syndicate that eventually grew powerful enough to supplant all forms of local government. Corporate hedonism. Work is where you want to be. The citizens of this megacorporation happily pledge allegiance and their free time to their employers in exchange for lavish corporate comforts. And then I think we added Mastercraft Incorporated over the course of the playthrough. But the biography, such as it is, When Raxar Carson wrote Spaceless Spring, the Raxari governments did nothing. When the temperatures began to drop and the scientists spoke out, they would not be moved. Only when the catastrophe came, they acted. I do not recognize their authority. I am a man of action. Where were they when my father's business foundered? Where were the excise men when the hypermart levied the family store? Each new regulation gives us another edge over our rivals. When the world united to ban our trade, we took it to the stars. Now the planet is encased in ice, and we've got plenty of product to unload. Time to find some new customers. So the idea behind this one was that basically this was basically kind of a ruthless gang, somewhat motivated by the fact that the owner, Kirox, was basically figured the game was rigged. He's not going to be on the losing side of that, and so essentially became a rum runner. Was circumventing regulations and got so good at it that essentially the enforcement of laws just wound up becoming a competitive edge. That these rum runners were so good at evading regulation that they would continue to make their profits, and that all that regulation would wind up doing is just simply inconveniencing any potential competition. And that eventually, when the planetary government got its act together, at least as far as commerce was concerned, they just simply solved the problem by going into space. And in the background on that, for Raxar Carson and Spaceless Spring, I don't know how many of you have ever heard of Silent Spring, but basically the idea here is that a climate catastrophe hit this planet, and that these incredibly effective rum runners who had already built space infrastructure were effectively the only game left in town, and that they're now expanding to sort of a galactic level to kind of infiltrate different planets and sell their goods, which is exactly what we've got going here. We've got two worlds. We've got 3 concealed drug labs and an illicit research lab on 2 planets here, which now has 100% crime. And we'll be doing that on other systems too. Just I know that we tend to lose these enterprises when we go to war with people, so I need to be careful in terms of how and when I do these things. As the operation nears its conclusion, Spymaster Vodabem has moved to secure our new asset with the Velox Ungrakva Royal States. Our remaining operatives are poised to facilitate any cover he may need. Commence the operation. Spymaster Vodabem reports from the Lox Ungrakva Royal States. A successful execution so far. We have lured an underappreciated member of the Lox Ungrakvan citizenry, whose attitude and contacts amongst the lower rungs of society are sure to aid our operations in various ways. Okay, so that should bring us up to capacity of 100. So we're still going to need some time to be able to move the number up for the intel. Now, it keeps saying intel falling in the Lox Ungrakva Royal States, but I don't actually believe that. The infiltration level keeps going up. Oh, sorry, I get it now. Yeah, so our intel rate is falling because our infiltration level is lower than our intel rate. That's why. That actually makes a heck of a lot more sense. So I probably shouldn't have got rid of that warning. Almost there for espionage.
We really push the envelope on these ships.
Okay, so what I'm going to do with this fleet now, we're going to move it out of terminal egress, and what I want to do is start dealing with the piracy problem. So we're going to start in Siluria, which is the first system that has piracy. And then we'll set up a patrol route immediately following that. But in the meantime, Dolok needs adjustment. Now, we've got quite a few alloys available to us. So what I'm going to start doing here is basically just improving all of my different star bases. I'm pretty much going to do it not exactly randomly, but anything that doesn't have a big scary icon in it is due for an upgrade. Yeah, so there's a few things that I can't turn into citadels. That's fair. Oh, actually, we have a lot more infrastructure here than I thought we did. Okay. Well, that sucks, because now I actually need to think about what I'm doing. Where's Castor, and why did I build you? Okay, so you're defending the border. Julao's definitely about protection. Thing is, this really isn't the best place for it. Like, Siluria is a better option if I'm worried about piracy. Ugh. Okay, I think what we're going to start off with is defensive platforms. So I'll admit, that's not one of my better ones, but I still have fun coming up with species. It's definitely, like, to me, Stellaris is just an incredibly elaborate role-playing game for me. So I pretty much have to come up with a backstory for my species. There's definitely a couple where people are like, "Ooh, that's a really good idea. Like, I want to read a story about that." But this one I liked. I think it was because at the time there was the Glasgow Climate Conference going on. So I knew I wanted to play a criminal enterprise, and I kind of liked the idea of these smugglers who were so good. Like, for some reason I was thinking about Prohibition too, but I liked this idea of these smugglers who were so good at what they did that they were actually the ones to innovate on space travel, and as a result escaped the fate. So, all right. I want to reconsider some of my governors. So I think in this case, Nadal will be governed by the intellectual. That's just so I can get a bonus to that science. There's probably a better breakdown I can do there. So this one had agrarian upbringing and adaptable. Ah, right. So my science hubs are the same as my agrarian hubs. Fair enough. I mean, I can't have it all, right? So... oh, actually, there is an interesting strategy that I can employ here. So I've been talking a little bit about my empire. So, like, this, I think, is actually an ideal way of playing a megacorp. So I don't know how many of you know, like, I'm assuming that you're all the sort of kind of people who are going to go and just, it's the middle of the night and the power goes out and you say, I want to know about the history of IBM. And of course you go to Wikipedia, except the power's out. So that analogy doesn't work. But like, IBM has continued to grow over its lifespan, but it's also wound up spinning off a whole bunch of different companies. So like, I'm pretty sure SAP was originally an IBM company. And then obviously the ThinkPad is not an IBM product anymore. That division got sold off to Lenovo. The next one, which just happened last year, is like Kyndryl. Like that's all of their computer systems architecture and all of that. So it's usually like IBM is sort of left in its way. Usually what it does is it just finds a low margin business and it spins it off, and it kind of focuses on its really high, high margin, really innovative work. And actually, like another example of this would be Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Like Coca-Cola and Pepsi continue to spin off and then reacquire their bottlers. I mean, investment bankers must just have like effectively guaranteed revenues from just convincing these companies to continue like, divesting and then reacquiring its bottling operations. And again, the idea here is that from Coca-Cola's perspective, like, they absolutely want to have their business to be as close to making caramel colored sugar water as possible. If you can get someone else to, like have the whole business of mixing it with water and putting it in a bottle, like that's great, because of course trying to move this stuff to businesses is tough, right? You're competing with other people to get, the shelf space, and you're it costs money to move trucks, and there's like running a plant is hard, whereas owning the Coke formula and being able to sell the mix to people, that's not nearly as difficult as the actual business of sort of like bottling and getting it out to the different stores. As it is right now, I believe both Coca-Cola and Pepsi have acquired their bottlers, and like when the bottlers were spun out, they'd always have like they'd always have enough control. But like the idea is that if you bought the Coca-Cola bottlers, you'd be kind of miserable because it wouldn't be all that profitable. But if you own the Coca-Cola company, you would have, you'd be just printing money basically. So why the hell am I talking about these businesses? Well, Empire, and I don't know if this is what they're trying to model. I just think in the idea of megacorps, they just want it to be different from like a state. But what's kind of neat here, right, is if you're saying is like, okay, well, the problem we're running into is we have too many pops, and our empire size is too high. We're not doing a very good job of managing our our empire. Well, one of the things I can consider doing is say it's like, okay, well, I'm going to take this sector and I'm going to create a vassal. And it's kind of the same as like spinning off one of these businesses, right? You don't need to worry about managing the pops or anything. You can just make sure that you put subsidiaries on all of their planet. Actually, I guess they'd be megacorps too, so maybe you couldn't put subsidiaries on it. But I do kind of like this idea of just basically like be as a business, like you eventually kind of become this conglomerate of all of these little vassals that you create. I've never actually done this with a megacorp, but I actually think that would be kind of a fun way of approaching it and dealing with the size problem. But like I said, that's not going to be how we handle it now. It was just a fun thought. And let's go buy some more consumer goods. I just want to make sure we're staying in the black. Oh wow, they're getting really aggressive on the
built something.
Border expansion. I actually kind of need to make sure I don't lose this. All right, we'll sell off a bunch of the food. Where's my construction ships? Oh dear, we've got a bunch of idle construction ships. Okay, so first things first, let's take Beta Corvi. Actually, let's do media.
Construction complete.
Oh Jesus, yeah, they're moving in quick.
Construction complete.
We might actually have to go to war with these guys over this, because I don't want them too close to my borders. And science ship. Oh, right. This was the one that we zipped around the galaxy. Oh, Jesus. We got too much stuff to buy. Okay, this is going to suck for my monthly income, but we are going to buy a whole lot of alloys. Yeah, look at that price.
Imagine the profit margins on this tech. Resource scan complete.
Amateurs talk about tactics, professionals study logistics. By ensuring our fleets are regularly and efficiently supplied, we can increase the number of vessels we can effectively support. All right, moving right along. Probably naval capacity, but let's see if we can find a cheaper tech. Nope, starbase capacity, which is actually also very useful for me, so... Good lord. Yeah, they're almost certainly going to try and take Vite. So as soon as we construct the base here, I can get this construction ship building. United Zakplot Confederacy has joined the Galactic Community. Zakplot People's Union has joined. Oh, man. Repeal natural sanctuaries. While protecting the environment is clearly important, the empires of the Galactic Community should be trusted to make their own decisions. If we voted for it, why is this... Oh, I think I know what happened here. So, yeah, they, Lagark Dorbax would be killed on sight were she ever to venture into our space. This is because it's their egalitarian ideals. I mean, surely if I can just do it whether or not they want it. Where's the peoples, though? The Zakplot's People's Union are hegemonic imperialists, or hegemonic imperialists. Oh, I get it. Okay. I think they're a vassal, are they not? Yeah. Oh, okay. No, I get it now. So they've always existed. It's just that they're now officially part of them. I get it. Greetings! That's gotta be a bug, but that's slightly hilarious.
Prospect analyzed. Boom. We built something.
Again, I'm really curious about when we're gonna finish these things. And surely our Titans are almost done.
Construction complete.
Okay, I want to do that immediately. And I'm actually going to build this starbase here as well. So I think what I'll do is I'll just fill out the remaining zones. So again, if I can, I think I actually am stronger. Oh no, these guys grew up. We definitely used to be able to throw our weight around with these guys. Nuts. Either way, though, I've kind of hit the limits of my expansion. Essentially, the only other expansion area I have is down here, and that I'm fine with that. I do need to start thinking of how I'm going to acquire a few
Boom. We built something.
a few new vassals, though. Okay, so we'll upgrade the starport. This is basically just for defense. Oh, we're back to having drop frames. The tech is supposed to be coming tomorrow, so we'll see whether or not that fixes it.
We built something.
Okay, so living metal is definitely a high priority there. That gives me a motivation to actually research that tech finally. Now, there's a small argument for me claiming these systems as well. These are an ally, so I don't need to really worry about defending the territory, but I don't know. I just don't quite feel the same need to take those.
Ships upgraded.
Okay. So what we're going to do with these guys, we'll set them up to patrol, although what I didn't keep in mind was... Okay, so we got to go all the way down to Torville to protect our shipping. Yeah, so that's going to protect...
Another bleeding-edge technology discovered.
Okay, these highly advanced missiles are equipped with limited onboard AI pilots that substantially improve their performance and the ability to track targets. So, synthetics sure is tempting. Screw it, we're doing it. I've got too many robot workers not to take advantage.
Construction complete.
So here I'm really just kind of filling in the blanks for the remaining sectors. Oh, and we've got our first Titan. Actually, we've got a bunch of Titans. Okay, we're going to go to war. I think I'm going to want to build up sort of a reserve fleet, but... yeah, I just got to think about this. So my ideal... So I'm just going to take a second here and erase... My notes are out of date for my ideal fleets. So I'm still working with my old fleet design of basically evenly dividing all of the different classes. So that's going to mean 4 battleships, 8 cruisers, 15 destroyers, 30 corvettes. That's obviously not even, but it's as even as I can get it. So okay. So that's 9 out of 15 destroyers. Just wrote myself an IOU on the corvettes and such. So we'll maybe wait. I do want to make sure.
Push the envelope on these ships.
I do want to make sure that everything's sort of up to date as far as the construction's concerned, or as far as the fleets are concerned. But I think we are definitely at a point where I want to start. I want to start throwing some bodies at my my enemies again. Okay.
We really push the envelope on these ships.
Actually, what I'm going to do as a stopgap... Oh, no. Okay. First of all, whoever needs an upgrade gets an upgrade. I don't know if we're doing that much to reduce piracy at this, frankly, but I'm trying my best. Okay, too many minerals. We'll just sell it all off. Although again, I'm gonna need to buy up something. Actually, one thing I can do, if I'm really that nutty as far as my cash is concerned, what I could probably just do is slam down a bunch of edicts. So far as the like exotic gases and so where was it? Yeah, so that's like 18. 27, yeah. I mean, there's... I'll be paying a lot for... I'll be paying a lot for all of this, but... I actually think it might work. Okay, we also were going down the unyielding path, so in this case I think Fortress Doctrine was where I wanted to go. This is a little late, so I wanted to take advantage of the better starbase upgrade costs. But with that in mind, you know, being able to get additional star bases is kind of helpful here. So constant vigilance is ingrained in the boys' consciousness. So long as our guard does not drop, our enemies will never be able to take us by surprise. Now, again, this isn't necessarily my ideal. Doctrine. It's just, you know, this was convenient, and then we can kind of move down the remaining paths on unyielding. So at this point, the last step really is to get as many ships ready to take on these guys as we can. They do have some pretty strong, like, so that fleet there, for instance, like 31k, 27k, like, these guys are not going to be pushovers. But the hope is that I'm going to be able to take on some of those navies in isolation and be able to, you know, kind of cut them down to size, so that way in 10 years we're going to be able to give them an offer they can't refuse.
Construction complete.
Okay. It did just occur to me that the priorities I have set up here don't quite work if I want people to get upgraded.
Resource scan complete.
Can't remember how many destroyers I said I wanted to build. I've got 9 of 15, really, so that's another 6.
Envelope on these ships.
Okay, so let's say they're still upgrading. I still need 25 for the Corvettes. And did my... Hey! They are ready to go. Okay. So I'm going to put them in the upgrade queue as well. These guys I'm going to move down to Toraville so that they can take up the patrol job. But again, the aim here is really just going to be to go crashing in and take out the enemy ships. So like if we take a look at it here, right? So they've got one fleet with 31k, one fleet with 27,998, and then one fleet with 31. So while we're stronger, they're definitely at a point where if they take a fair fight, they are going to be able to take a lot of my ships down. And that's something I want to be very careful of. That's why I'm taking the time to make sure that these upgrades are done before I go too heavy into the fight.
Ships upgraded.
Okay. Again, we're going to move these guys down to the bottom of the queue just because I've got other upgrades. Oh. We haven't started the upgrade yet. A new faction has recently been gaining traction in the internal political landscape of the Natraxian Rum Runners. Led by Governor Talaxar, they call themselves the National Wealth Lobby. Their members lobby for national focus on financial growth and stability through peaceful means. Okay. Again, I have too much money, so... Okay, well, we don't need to buy the rare crystals at all. This is going to be how I deal with my surplus for now. I'll just buy sort of increment. I'm going to buy too much in terms of alloys for a little bit and just make my energy credit. Because I think what's going to happen is, yeah, the price is still going to fall. And of course, I just have a nice big stockpile of alloys when all is said and done. Okay. That's 10, 15, 19. So that's almost a full fleet that we've got. I'm not going to do this for too long. I want to make sure that we're covered, but this is a nice spot to be in, just simply because I've got 3 full strength fleets ready to go, and there's going to be a nice big reserve.
Incoming transmission.
Oh, who wants a research agreement? Oh, the Techerus link. All right. We have much to learn from one another, Raxar. We propose the creation of a research agreement between our empires. So definitely agree to that. Now I'm going
Another bleeding edge technology discovered.
I'm going to need to keep an eye on my alloys once the trades are done, because I am still going to want to upgrade all of these different star bases and such. But again, being able to cut down my enemies to size is definitely a high priority for me right now, and I don't want to delay that for too long. So the real hope was that we would be able to sort of eclipse them as far as strength is concerned, but I have a feeling we're going to have to do that through slightly more direct means. Minor improvements to transmission efficiency add up to a sizable reduction in overall energy loss. Okay. So again, we're well into the realm of just, you know, pick whatever you want kind of... Actually, in this case, I think I hate giving up... I hate giving up control here, but I think auto research. I'm curious what they're going to do. Wow, they went for energy again. Huh? Oh, it's because I'm in. Yeah, it's because I'm in the negatives. That's almost certainly why. Okay, so I want to be fancy about it, but honestly, let's just fly a bunch of ships into enemy territory and make things blow up.
Technology discovered. Rad.
In this case, we'll oops. We must have the courage to seize our fate and make true what was always meant to be. Okay, let's go for... I'm actually going to do Secrets of Life in this case. And then... I need to start thinking about where I'm putting my star bases. So Vite's covered. Sayakaro, it's a little hard. So like Sayakaro, Amitser, these planets, it's not quite as important to me that I have coverage. I think maybe it's better that I start thinking about... Oh man, yeah, like we've already got trade hubs here. I genuinely don't know where I want to put these, put any of these other bases, just because like right now all of this is defense oriented, right? I want to make sure that we're protected in the different wormholes and such. I want to make sure we're protected on our borders, so all of that's covered. Oh, actually, I guess I didn't. I can't upgrade the Zorican black hole. But then again, the Zorican black hole is for the L-gate. The L-gate's already protected, so I don't even need to worry about that one. So normally what I would do is I'd put down a starbase to protect the trade. But even there, like, we've got Shorax down. We've got a bunch of different places to help with the trade. I guess maybe the other thing that I'll do is I'll start putting down bases on systems where, like, I have populations but no bait. Like, so I can put deep space black sites. So we'll start with Subra. Grunner. This isn't necessarily going to help with the piracy, but at least it will... So we've got room for one more. I mean, maybe it'll help with the piracy, but this is definitely going to be a lot more about expanding the capacity for the Empire.
Boom! We built something. Prospect analyzed.
Look at all those ships coming out of there. So I believe that is the end of that. We've got another full replacement. I think I'm going to start using these alloys to upgrade my existing bases.
Built something.
This one should get a leader right away.
Construction complete.
And then you can take care of Althea. So if I'm patient, I might actually have a, not a full, but a close to full fleet ready to complete. Add. Oh wow, that was quick.
Resource scan complete.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a little bit less for me to worry about piracy-wise, but obviously these are still eating into the profits. We can still work with this, though. I think at the very least everybody's going to get a hangar. Once I get my star bases taken care of... Oops, what was I thinking there? Once I've got my star bases in order, I'm actually going to start boosting up the habitats. I maybe should have done that before, but obviously we've got a ton of things to... I think the Azazians should be going on this world because they're good miners. But yeah, like they're... I want to get my star bases taken care of first because I've been neglecting them for so long. And then I can start taking care of my habitats and such. Okay, so Alethir's already being worked on.
Prospect analyzed.
Metal mining station in Subra. I think that's going to cover me for upgrades I can build for now. I don't have access to Zero yet, and we don't have access to living metal. That will change, but we're not quite there yet.
Wow, we really hit this tech out of the ballpark.
Highly advanced robots that are stronger, faster, and more durable than the vast majority of organics. With their upgraded neural processors, they are fully capable of independent operations. Okay, Habitat World is a very tempting upgrade here. Megastructure Restoration is also a potentially good one for me. You know what? I'm finally going to bite the bullet. Let's do Living Metal. That is a useful tech for me to have. It's honestly, that's a useful tech that I should have gotten earlier. I don't like rushing Living Metal, but that's not an excuse to completely ignore it. Limbo, technological advances. Following the recent advancements in the field of robotics, the scientific community on Kirox's private stash is confident that we can produce synthetic bodies sophisticated enough to support a higher neurological consciousness. We could upload the neural patterns that were recovered from the alien vault discovered some time ago into robots and bring the aliens back to life. We could get a bunch of engineering research, but let's do it's worth a try.
Log updated.
So we'll research that. Won't take a very long time. And
boom.
Yes, I was opposing
We
that, so
built
I'm
something.
happy.
Research complete. We did it.
Limbo, a new beginning. After many trials and setbacks, the engineering department has finally managed to transfer the extinct aliens' neural scans to robotic bodies, and the results are exhilarating. The ancient aliens have fully regained consciousness and have expressed a desire to join our empire, offering to colonize a new planet within our borders. So we would be honored. And Media 3, I don't know where that is. Well, it works for me, especially because, even if it's a tundra world, guess what? We have the last bale. Our environmental specialists are pleased to report that the terraforming process on Media 3A has completed. The planet has been successfully transformed into a Gaia world, owing to our deployment of laboratory-created plant hybrids containing carefully selected segments of the Bale genetic code. Once again, as a result of the process, itself not quite fully understood by our geneticists, a number of new Bale populations have appeared planet-side, emerging when terraforming neared completion. So we suppose we'll have to deal with them. Excellent, more slaves, or incredible. We'll say incredible this time. Robots and radishes. Oh my. Okay. We gotta put these guys to work. So, I definitely have some plans for this world. We really can't clear these blockers? Good lord. Alright. So I think I'm going to turn this into a corporate site. Although for now, we're going to build whatever we can on this colony. Once the buildings are built, I'm going to mess around a little bit with my populations, but I'm going to try not to get ahead of myself. So we're pretty much ready to start the invasion, but I do have a couple things I want to do. Because we're so close to having a full fleet to supplement our existing forces, I actually think it wouldn't hurt for me to take some time to... Well, I mean, it depends how long it takes to build all this stuff, I suppose. I I mean, I guess we can wipe out this... Yeah. We probably shouldn't be scared of going in. One last thing I should consider would be my armies. So they're on Kefroth 1. We've got 18. I don't really know what we're looking at as far as defenses are concerned. So they're at 125, 530. Yeah, okay, we should be fine. But I do want to be a little mindful of whatever retaliation is coming in. So, with that in mind, we will declare war. This is going to be Conquer, and we can invite attackers. So both the Tecarus Link and the Nar Consciousness. Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of having lots of things coming after them. So 6 claims. Our allies have 2 claims that we were trying to conquer from the enemy and their ally. Okay, so I think it means that we might be fighting with our allies for some of this territory. I'll just try and make sure that... Oop. So we need to see how the vote goes. Vote for the dedication of war against the Loxon Grakvan Royal States failed? Who said no? Through hard work and experience, scientist Turdalek has developed new skills.
Prospect analyzed. Prospect analyzed. Aggressive expansion initiated.
There we go. So we're over our cap here, but I really don't care.
Engaging hostile station.
Look at that beauty. Okay, so we lost 1 cruiser out of that. That's a bit of a shame, but that's why we've got shipyards. So I'm going to build 1 replacement cruiser here, and then we'll just spin out one of the cruisers for the next group. And then at this point, we can just take the army and we'll obviously hire a new general. I think I can handle a Glory Seeker. And in this case, I think it makes sense just to land the armies. They're 125 versus our pretty strong group, so we'll enter orbit. I do need to start getting some science ships on this. In fact, I have a suspicion that it might not be a bad idea for me to get another science ship ready to assist with research. Wait, I've only got 1 assisting research right now? Should probably double check that. Okay, so I've got a couple things to do then. I think we're going to stay put here. I am going to train at least 1 new science ship. I'm going Media 3. We're still waiting on new buildings to be constructed, so I'm gonna hold tight there. Okay, actually, here's the easy one for me. We've got... Okay, so if Thrish is getting the research... Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 4 more science ships. And that's just to assist the research. I'll just wait for us to get the ships that we need. Okay, so I'm just going to sit here and heal up my people before we move on before we do the next fight. Again, we're in reasonably good shape here. We could take them on if we wanted, but I might as well just take them on my own terms, right? While I'm healed up. The longer I wait, the sooner the Stellaris link comes in to beat them up. So I suspect probably they're gonna engage on this side, but. Well, I guess I can go just claim that for myself, actually.
Boom.
A little late to do that, but...
Something.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like they're coming to defend themselves, which is fine. Again, I'd prefer to heal up before we do anything too crazy.
Construction complete.
I'm a little surprised that we're not healing in this base.
Our troops just hit enemy soil running.
Okay. Let's see how this fight goes.
Technology discovered. Rad.
All right, so that's good for us. I'm going to land these armies just because we don't necessarily know we're going to control the system for the whole time. It does look like our ships are healing now, which is good. And we've got Secrets of Life. Having the opportunity to study the multitudes of life lets us find some common ground for all living beings, the foundational building blocks of life. Okay. I guess I'll do this one. Definitely want to clear those tile blockers as soon as possible. And repeal natural sanctuaries. I wanted that to fail, so good.
Construction complete.
Okay, so it looks like they're moving as a group. It's to my advantage. So I am a little curious. Oh, wait, no, they can't do anything with tac. I mean, they might try to fight through the Stellarite Devourer, but we can actually fight them in this system with the advantage of their base. So we're just going to sit there and wait for them to sort of break themselves on our new base. I'm feeling really good about this now.
Planetary exploitation forecast complete.
Did I get that number wrong? Nope, I'm just being impatient. So with luck, the cruiser will arrive in time, but it's going to be a little bit of a race. So adding the Stellaris link didn't really accomplish a whole lot. Ah, they have Titans too.
Resource scan complete. Imagine the profit margins on this tech.
Sapient races have been reclaiming swampland for thousands of years. A coordinated system of modular aqueducts, pump stations, chemical remediation crawlers, and automated soil compactors can reclaim land at unprecedented speeds. Okay. Lots to do. Although it looks like we're getting the end of the social tree. So first things first, let's clear out the blockers. That's the whole reason why I got that tech. So in this case, I'm gonna let the planet fill out its I'm gonna get all the jobs in place first. I am going to designate this as a forge world, I think. No, Unification Center was how I was going to use it. Oh, they became wimps.
Prospect analyzed.
That sort of makes sense. So I was hoping one of the fleets would sort of hold up. Okay, well, what we're going to do here, we'll let the cruiser join the main fleet. If they're not going to make a move, actually, I've got some ideas. So first things first, let's. The agreement we signed giving you access to our databanks has run its course. Would you like to extend it for another 10 standard years, or do your researchers no longer require the information we offer? Please extend the deal. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to inflict sort of maximum pain while suffering minimal losses. So I think what I'm actually going to start doing, I'm going to send out like one fleet to go claim a system. I kind of want to send all of the fleets, but let's just try one at a time for an experiment.
Construction complete.
And I want to see whether or not I can get away with sort of claiming all of the systems in the background. I kind of want to see if they're just going to sit there and take it, or if they're actually going to move on the basis of, okay, so they're moving back. That's not great for me. I was kind of hoping that they would do something different. Again, remember, the part of the goal on this is to actually wipe out their fleets. But I have an idea. So we're actually going to go hunting in the pull core system.
Construction complete.
What's going on with Stellaris? Why can't I see you? Just leave that be for now. I am, however, going to try and do another batch of upgrades. So at some point, I do need to actually fill these things with something useful. But for now, just being able to raise the level of the buildings is kind of nice. And this gives me another fleet to go running around the enemy territory with. I'm going to make that one off limits for now. So we're going to move them to... What? Aha. I'm kind of curious what they're going to do here. So my original intention was to take out this fleet. But I kind of want to see what they're up to here. I want to see if they're going to move into the middle or if they're actually going to try and commit. Okay, they're going to dance around for a little bit, so we're going to go hunt their big fleet. I keep noticing that they're sort of they have just a few really big fleets in their pocket that I haven't really been paying attention to.
Prospect analyzed.
So if they move past the middle point here, we have to turn around and go defend the colony. Okay, yep. So they're committing to it. Now, I expect that we're going to arrive late and that this base is actually going to kind of take it in the throat. Yeah, so they're getting ready to jump. Mind you, so are we. I don't want to go in one by one, so we're going to move everybody into position first. Basically, I want them to commit to the fight. Yep, okay, they're committed, so we commit to. I just really need this base to hold the line for a bit.
Starbase lost.
Got there too late. There's only one fleet. Oh my god, what just happened? I'm gonna take some more losses than I really want to here. That sucks. Just look at those numbers. That didn't need to happen. I have no idea why they didn't select all the fleets like it was supposed to. Okay. Let's get an accounting before I go too much further. So this is the thing I was trying to avoid. What I really wanted to do was I wanted to destroy all their fleets while not losing too many of mine. And in this case, we lost quite a bit. So 5 destroyers... 1 cruiser, +2 to the cruisers, +4 to the destroyers, +12 to the destroyers, 8 corvettes, +4 to the cruisers, and shockingly 1 battleship. Okay, so I will be able to get that from sort of the other fleet, but it just sucks that I need to spend so much effort to get these replacements. So 1 battleship, 6, 7 cruisers. Ooh. I'll wait that out. And I should have some spare science ships kicking around, so... At this point, I'm kind of hiring the youngest scientists I can find. It's going to be a little bit of a pain to make this all work out. I'm still mad at the fact that only 1 of those ships went in. All right. And then the other ones are just going to support research. So we'll put you on the capital world. Hey, we've got a maniac. Now the big question is, who's doing the second highest research? Okay, so we've got 239. Okay, so they're over Nadal, but Kafroth is also a good candidate. So where is that one? The rest of the science ships will be assigned to other planets too, but I have other priorities right now, so... Nope. Lost our engineer. I think in this case... Oh no, we've got a genius, so I pretty much always get the priority. And we'll hire yet another researcher. The tender age of 42. Okay, so first thing we need to do is repair.
Resource scan complete.
We'll wait on the... Oh! These guys didn't lose any time. I mean, I'm tempted to just go and try and pop them in the... Oh, yeah, they're going to try and reclaim that. Okay, that's fine. Am I missing something here? Okay, they're all in the same system. So, let's get the replacements then. Cruiser, 5 destroyers. Two cruisers, 4 destroyers. Battleship, 4 cruisers. Jesus, 12 destroyers. Don't have enough. And then 8 corvettes. Actually, the smarter thing would have been to just detach the Titan and stick it on this other one. So I think there's some value in still getting this guy running around picking up little systems, but then we'll send him back to the main shipyard. Okay, so they're gonna... Right now, they're just gonna stay put. That's fine by me, because what it means is that I can just move in and attack. Now, what I am curious about is we just lost a bunch of intel. And I had thought that our intel level was improving. But that's fine. We'll work with what we've got right now. I just need to be a little more careful. Turns out there was a 4th research project if I wanted to take it. Okay, so we're not at full strength, but we're definitely able to take this guy on. Now, it looks like they're going to go defend their territory. These guys, 8k versus my 17. Now, this isn't necessarily a fight that I want, but I'm definitely happy to try and take this base. Ooh, that is a Titan, so I think I should back off. Oh, don't you dare run from me. Scumbags. So I'm not at all worried about losing this. I am worried about them moving to this system, though, because that's better defended. So what we're going to do is we're going to sneak in behind them and wipe out that Titan. And these guys, I think we're just going to float into the base. No need to get fancy on that. What I didn't figure out, though, is what I needed to build. I don't even... We're definitely at the end of the list. Okay, so we had a battleship and 3 cruisers. Surely we can do better than that. I needed 7, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I'm going to start crossing these things off. Right, 1 million destroyers. That's not much to ask, is it? 21. I gotta check that number, but...
This tech had
They are looking banged up here, but again, I don't want to attack them in a position where they're strong. Gradual adaptation to the realities of deep space combat allows us to effectively coordinate larger maneuvers. Okay, so here... there is a temptation to keep going down the naval capacity line, and this is actually... Now, I'll take the productivity first. It's mostly just because that might get me access to that extra Titan. Alright, did that cost me anything? No.
Debris analyzed. Now let's make some more.
I love that line. Now I gotta find my idle science ships.
Debris analyzed. Now let's make some more.
You're gonna be hearing that a lot. Okay, so we're gonna move this on to a good research project. So Nadal and Kafroth have taken... Actually, you know what? I'm gonna write this down too, otherwise I'm gonna be searching all night. So... Okay, Nadal and Kafroth... They're on Thrish, huh? Oh, that's the one on Nadal. Okay. So Nadal is accounted for. Okay, that's fine. I'm actually going to physically look at the ships just to make sure that I'm not completely losing my mind. Okay, this is the free one. This is also going to be free. This one's assisting Kirox's private stash. Alright, cool. So, with that in mind, Nadal, Kafoth, Kalsach taken care of. Nadal sector is good. Zygar 6. Okay. So yeah, Zygar 6 and Zandaban. And then Kirox's private stash honestly isn't that impressive. Okay, well let's just focus on the Zygar habitat to begin with. So Zygar 6 is the best option for starters.
Debris analyzed. Now let's make some more.
Governing ethics shift in United Zakplot Confederacy. Following a long period of growing support for the Institute of High Technology, the United Zakplot Confederacy has finally embraced the faction adopting their core values and policies. As a result of bringing this faction into their government, they have become more outwardly materialist. Okay, so Zandaban's the next one. How? I have no idea. But we're generating a lot of science, so I'm not going to question it. Actually, if memory serves, I think I wanted to reconfigure that so I could build more gas extraction wells. Well, we're still working the available jobs though, so. Okay, we'll leave that alone. Oh, looks like they're ready for a fight. So these are the fights I definitely want to take. Like, the closer I can get to wiping out enemy fleets like this, the better. Even if it means I have to lose some ships. Mind you, I'll still complain when I lose ships, so. That's 2 destroyers, 2 corvettes. Can probably peel some of those off. Nope. So that was the Kutala. Oh, but I've got 2 Kutalas. There we go. Now, some of these science ships that are
debris analyzed.
Like researching debris, I'm gonna want to keep them around because, like, obviously we get some great opportunities to close the gap in terms of technology with the enemy here. So my first priority is to cut their navy down to size. Second would be to try and close the gap as far as tech is concerned. Although it really does seem like they've got a much stronger navy than I had anticipated. Kind of banking on being able to bully them a bit, but that's fine.
Technology acquired.
All right, living metal. Mining and processing the rare living metals is exceedingly difficult, but the successful application of the mutable alloys yields incomparable advantages. Battleship pattern sure looks really tempting. I think I'm actually going to do that. There is definitely some tech that I can inherit from my rivals here, but now there's a big question. Because they're so weak here, does it make sense for me to make a greedy push on their territory? I think in this case, yes. I hate that I'm doing this, but now is actually kind of a good time to go crashing in. Or is it? Well, we're committed now.
We analyzed some debris.
So that had to be a big one for us. Again, it came at a cost, but that's a cost I'm willing to pay. So that's another 2 destroyers down, another cruiser. Another 4 destroyers, okay. Another corvette. Another cruiser. Man, I'm really short on destroyers now. So 17, 19, 21, 25, 28 destroyers. We should have a nice little stockpile of alloys, though, so let's deploy that for some replacements. So we needed 2 cruisers. Okay, so 7 of the outstanding ones. And I guess I can cannibalize the this fleet even more. So I needed 2 cruisers and, well, an unlimited number of destroyers. So bring them into that system. I'll figure out the rest later. These guys we're going to stick into the... So the good news here is that we more or less have the objectives for the war. So everything else is just me hurting the enemy positions. Now I do want to make sure I can actually hold this stuff, because depending on how quickly the Hrigaska battle group moves, I may actually be in a bit of trouble there. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch the armies. And we're going to go send them to the capital world. 302, so this will be a bit of a fight, but... So I do want to keep an eye on what they're doing here.
We built something.
So the temptation would be to go out and hit this battle group, but I need to... Yeah, I need to heal these units before I go too far. Actually, we already have a bit of a journey ahead of us, so I think it's better that we head to this region. There is a small danger, and that is...
Prospect analyzed.
The army gets caught out. But yeah, they're definitely committing to reclaiming this system.
Prospect analyzed.
Okay, I should be making more of my minerals. Oh, that's right. Actually, media needs a ton of attention. Okay, let's go back to... Yeah, we're already building all of these. Okay, so there's a few things that I want to do here. Zygar, first of all. New Baal. Let's move you to Zandaban for starters. Dolok. Okay, so that's a Raxar, so I'm actually going to start moving those onto media. Grunner, so that's a Vengral. We'll move you to Zandaban. Kefroth, Natraxi, so that's fine. Okay, so that should deal with the unemployment. Now, the next question is, knowing that I have media, so in this case, we could put up to 6 more Natraxi on the world, and actually in this case, we will prioritize growing Raxar. Okay, so let's just take a quick second and see. It's like when it comes to my Raxar, I just want to make sure, like, are they actually doing something that I think is useful for them to be working on? Same story with Zygar, because like Zygar, obviously, I can afford to put slaves on those worlds and not worry too much about it. Subra. Yeah, that's all fine. Kalsoch. What I'm really trying to... Yeah, so when I see stuff like Raxar Clerks... Like, I don't mind doing this at all, because on Kalsoch, then we're just going to move... we're going to move more slave populations into the clerk jobs. And we'll kind of continue along those lines sort of ad infinitum, to be honest, but... for now, I did say that this is going to wind up being a... This is going to be a Unity-focused world, so let's commit to that choice. I'll build at least one administrative office, and I'm hoping to build more city districts to make this work. I think I said I was going to build a bunch more ships too, didn't I? Okay. Man, running a war is hard. I'm hoping I get this right. It says here I need 2 new cruisers. Another 2 destroyers down. Again, anything goes as far as that's concerned. Like, we'll kind of see what this looks like at the end of it all. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what to make of most of this. I know we're down ships. That's the best that I can say, frankly.
Initiated.
Okay, Tecarus Link has shown up. So they're definitely going to reclaim that system. Now again, the key to this is not so much like I don't want to lose.
Better generate some revenue.
I don't want to lose too many ships. But part of this is to cut the cut these guys' navy down to size. So I want to make sure that mine is still big enough. But it's actually not bad for me if we extend this fight a bit longer than it needs to be.
Resource scan complete.
Alright, through hard work and experience, General Coxerum has developed new skills. So we don't control this yet. We will now land on the habitat. Okay, they're heading back. That's not entirely surprising. I don't think we can catch them either.
Hostile takeover initiated.
Okay, what can we do for replacements? 2 cruisers, 4 destroyers. Okay, that won't be too hard. So we'll take out the cruisers, then split it in half. It's not perfect, but it'll do the trick. Maybe what I'll do is I'll leave one of these, so maybe the Kotala Void Skulkers I can reduce.
Now let's make some more.
I feel like I got this number wrong. Should be 15 destroyers. I added one too many. These numbers don't make sense anymore. Okay. So yeah, we've got our 140 here. These guys are short. Let's get those numbers right. So 148, 15, 30. 148, 15. Okay, so it's just a Corvette. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, 3 destroyers. Okay, so 3 destroyers and a Corvette. I've got two full fleets here now. Again, try and get these numbers into something sane, but I have a feeling it's just going to move. Actually, you know... Okay, so it's going to be 1 Titan per fleet. Dowash, how you doing? You know what, let me just take a second to figure this out. It's also going to give me a chance to... I know this is a little dull to... Particularly because I don't have the tablet on the monitor, but I'm actually going to take a second here and I'm going to work out the fleet numbers again because we've had a couple of command limit changes and it's thrown off the numbers a little bit. So right now we've got a cap of 160. Now things are a little bit different now because we've got the Titan. So I think we said, what, battleships are 8, so Titans are probably 16. I'm not allowed to remove that apparently. Nuts. Okay, that would have been easy. I'll say it's 16 just for the sake of it. So we subtract 16 from 160. This is an ideal fleet, so obviously the 4th fleet here is not going to have a Titan, but we don't worry about that. So what is that? I guess it's 144 if I subtract 16 by 160. Yeah, that's right. So with 144, we have that. We divide that among, I guess it's 4 other classes, right? Corvette, destroyer, cruiser, and battleship. Why don't I have a calculator? God, I can't do this in my head right now. Well, we could start with the 100. Oh yeah, actually that's not that hard. So the 44, you've got 11. And then 100 would be 25. So yeah, I don't know why I was whining. I think I just like to complain. I'm kind of like this at work sometimes too. So that works out 36 per unit, which makes me feel like we're actually already kind of close. So if it's 36, battleships are 8 apiece, 2 battleships 16, so 4 battleships 32. That would mean that we go over the limit up to 40. Well, okay, so let's say that we decided to go for 5 battleships with 40. Cruisers are 4. It was 36, I said, right? Yeah, 36. Sorry, I'm really losing track. So sorry, it was 36 per unit, acknowledging that that number's a little weird now because I've gone overweight on battleships, but I believe if I stuck to my guns on the 36, that would be so 5 battleships, and I think that's 9 cruisers, which I suppose would imply 18 destroyers and 36 corvettes. And the drawback with this, of course, is that I overdid it on the battleships. So we have to give up 4, which I could take 1 destroyer and 2 corvettes off, so that would be 17 destroyers and 34 corvettes. Please remind me never to charge my phone when I'm playing Stellaris. That was unrewarding. They said 34, right? Yeah. Okay, that's going to be the new fleet design. There's a small argument for going for the little guys again, but I'm gonna stick with this for now. Right, and then I guess we had 2. Well, okay, let's do 6 on the battleships. Still 9 on the cruisers. 18 destroyers. Can I get away with the 36? Cool. So I could give him a spare cruiser. Yeah, we'll go the other way. Thank you for the math lesson, but I completely lost you. Well, I mean, like, it's just basic arithmetic, right? Like, there's nothing magical that I did there. The only clever trick on it was, like, it's like you start with... So basically, if you need to try and figure this out quickly in your head, so you start with the fleet cap, which in this case is 160. And the way I normally like doing it is dividing it over... evenly over the different groups. That's not even because it's optimal. It's just, it's convenient for me to do it that way. But the thing is that it doesn't make sense to do like 160 divided by 5, because are you really going to dedicate like 20% of your command limit to Titans? Like, are you seriously going to have a battle group with 2 Titans in it? That doesn't make any sense, right? It makes a lot more sense to just have a Titan as a big capital ship that's, you know, with everything going around it. I mean, one big reason for that is so you can have a bunch of screening ships to make sure that like a fleet of corvettes doesn't come in and demolish your Titans. So like it's inoffensive is basically that strategy. So the first thing you need to do is account for your Titan. So if you can't remember what the Titan was, like I usually do, just remember corvettes 1 command point, destroyers are 2, cruisers are 3, battleships are 4. Sorry, I got that wrong. Corvettes are 1, destroyers 2, cruisers are 4, battleships are 8, and so you've got this pattern of things doubling. So the from battleship to Titan, it would make sense that it's 16. So subtract 16 from 160. In that case, you get 144. And then I was like, oh God, how do I divide that into 4? That seems tough, right? And it's like, no, actually, it's not that hard. You take the 44, put it on one side, you take the 100 on the other. 44 divided by 4 is 11. That's an easy one to do. And then what's 100 divided by 4? Well, it's 25, right? Everybody knows what a quarter is. So then you take 25 plus 11, and that's how you get 36. And generally, if I have to, I don't know, impress people, like with things like being able to calculate a tip without like pulling out a phone or something like that, usually being able to break apart the... You can't follow that either? Okay, I just need to stop taking this for granted. Like, that's how I usually do. Like, if it's something that's, like, additive, right? So, like, 144 is the same as 100 plus 44. Being able to recognize that both of those numbers on their own are easy to divide by 4 is how you can get to 36 really quickly without a calculator. Whereas, like, if you look at 144, unless you're just really good at doing that kind of arithmetic quickly in your head, you know, like some people are genuinely really impressive in their ability to do that. I'm not. So in that case, I just kind of look for that thing where like 44 and 100 are not scary to divide by 4. Therefore, 144 should not be scary, but I don't look at 144 and think 36. I look at 144 and think 144 and then work the two together. But like, let's be honest here, right? Everybody's got like a phone with them. Everybody's got like the means of doing quick calculations. Mind you, with that in mind, like it's sometimes nice to be able to just kind of keep on top of things. You know, keeps you sharp. It's like doing Wordle. Actually, I haven't done Wordle in like forever, but yeah, I mean, like, most of the time if I'm doing math at work, it's not like arithmetic. Like, you've got Excel for that, or, you know, whatever you want to use. You know, the tricky math is where you have, you know, you're more talking about relationships between things. I'm enough of a nerd on this stuff. Actually, have I said this? Any of you who normally want... I'm sorry, I'm totally not about Stellaris, so I'll move back to that. But any of you longtime viewers here, do any of you know that I have a favorite mean? Did any of you know that there's more than one mean? There's some really sharp math people in the channel, so I'm assuming a few of you probably know about more than one mean, but... Okay, for all that talk, I do actually need to build the new fleets. Let's deal with that another time. Okay, so the sensible thing right now, I think, is to get out of the danger zone. And then for my existing fleets, I think at this point it's kind of clear that we're just going to need to heal up. But we're going to chase these guys down afterwards. Ah, damn it. I've been looking for things to throw minerals at, and I just don't have it. It should probably work out a better trading arrangement. Yeah, I can't build enough things to... do I have a holotheater? Yes. Well, I do normally build a stronghold on a planet, so we can start with that. Yeah, so there is more... I think they're called the Platonic means. Let me just double check that I get that right. I know there's like Platonic solids, but that's not what I'm looking for. Sorry, Pythagorean means. I thought Platonic means sounded weird. So basically, yeah, so this is, I'm getting close to like wrapping up for Stellaris tonight. That's kind of why I've checked out a little bit. But for those of you who are interested in some really weird little math, in my opinion, one of the... Yeah, exactly. Like everybody knows the Pythagorean... is it the Pythagorean thought? I thought it was Platonic solids. Did I get that wrong too? No, it's totally Platonic solid. Anyways, yeah. So for those of you who play tabletop role-playing games, I believe this is a conscious choice on the part of the people who made D&D. The dice that you use, 4-sided, 6-sided, 8-sided, 12-sided, and 20-sided, are what are known as Platonic solids, and named after the philosopher. But that wasn't really what I was going to talk about. What I was going to talk about was the Pythagorean means. So I think most of you are familiar with the idea of the average, right? So and the average is also known as the arithmetic mean. So the idea is that you'll have a collection of numbers, and you can add those numbers together and then divide by the number of numbers you have, and that's going to give you the mean. So, you know, if you think of a die roll, 6-sided die, you know, you add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, divide that by 6, and you get 3.5. And that's, you know, we consider that the average or a measure of central tendency. There's a few different ways that you can think about it. But that is not the only way of doing that calculation. And if you want my opinion, one of the things that I think is highly underrated in mathematics, like these things are so incredibly useful, and you learn about them in elementary school, but like once you go into university, you actually kind of need to be doing some specialized topics to really see these things again for any sustained study. But inequalities are actually really, really helpful. So like an equality, you know, you all probably remember having to do like y equals mx plus b. And when you're doing algebra, you know that you've got an equality between things. So what you do on one side, you have to do on the other. And that's a really good way for sort of learning the rules of mathematics, right? You know, you kind of learn that as long as you can keep that balance, you know, again, by definition, these things are equal. So if you do a transformation to one to maintain the equality, you do the other. But of course, there's a lot of relationships in the world that don't involve equality. They involve inequality. And sometimes if you are able to express things in an inequality and to express them in a clear enough way, you may be able to answer a set of questions that were previously not available to you through expressing them as that inequality. So, and one of the reasons why I became very interested in them, one, I had to pass courses. But it was actually when I was studying index number theory. So like inflation is a really big thing in the news right now. But price index theory deals a lot with different kinds of calculations of means. And there's a relationship between the Pythagorean means that's really interesting. So to give you an example of another type of mean that you can work with, there's one called the geometric mean. Now this is a lot easier if you remember your math classes a bit better. But you know how for your arithmetic mean or your average, you'll add these, you'll add your numbers together and then you'll divide by however many you had. For the geometric mean, what you do is you multiply the numbers together. And then what you do is you take the nth root of the numbers that you multiplied. So for the 6-sided die, you would take the, you know how you do like the square root sign, and you'd put to the 6. And that's equivalent to taking it to the power of 1/6. But again, I appreciate this is now maybe where I'm going into the math that you did learn in high school, but you probably haven't had to use in a while. So if you had two numbers, you could just take the square root. That's probably the easiest way of putting that. And then there's finally one other one, which I'll be honest with you, like I don't know. Like there's some stuff that you learn where you really wonder like where the hell these people came up with this. But there's one called the harmonic mean, which is ridiculous. So what you do for that one is you take the number of numbers, so your n, like the thing that you were dividing by in the arithmetic mean, that goes on the top, and then you divide that, and then you do like 1 divided by your number. So like in the case of the 6-sided die, you take 6 divided by 1/1 plus 1/2 plus 1/3. And like, again, you can sort of do the negative ones and sort of like, you can express that formula in a little bit better. But like the harmonic mean just looks really, really weird to look at. Just when you look at it, it's a very unusual equation. And the reason why this relates to inequalities, and the reason why I think this stuff is really cool, is there's actually a proof that you can do that shows of these three means, the harmonic mean will always be the smallest or equal to the geometric mean, and the geometric mean will always be equal to or greater than the harmonic mean, but less than or equal to the arithmetic mean. So there's a relationship between the three Pythagorean means. And so in addition to the fact that I actually think the geometric mean is just really cool, there is one thing that's nice about it is that like the geometric mean is the meanest of the means. Like if you had your pick of means and you wanted the middle mean, the geometric mean is that one. And then on top of all of that, if you are calculating price indexes, there are some very nice properties for the indexes that are calculated using these geometric means. So there are these objects known as elementary indexes, which just use prices. And there is, if you have to use an elementary index, there's one called the Jevons Index, named after William Stanley Jevons, economist, scientist. There's actually, he came up in cryptography, I found out. There's like Jevons number, but I'm not going to go too far on this because I'm pretty sure I've lost most of you for going on this incredibly nerdy little tangent. But the Jevons Index, geometric mean of price relatives, is very useful. And then there is the Fisher Ideal Index, which is an example of something known as a superlative index, which my professor discovered, and I think he's really cool for discovering that. And the Fisher Index is actually the geometric mean of two fairly famous price indexes called the Pash and the L'Espers Index. And it really, the difference between those two is just where you choose to base these sorts of things. They really should have given you the raise already. Yeah. But as it turns out, like if you take the geometric mean in a lot of price index applications, it actually winds up giving you these very nice properties. And incidentally, if you, for some preposterous reason, if you find this interesting, all of this stuff is available publicly. Like the IMF has like their producer price manual. I'm pretty sure there's the consumer price manual as well. Like all of this stuff is publicly available. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you go to the UN website, you can find it. Because it's like the IMF, the OECD. I think there was like a bunch of people who went together and researched this stuff. But yeah, like it's, I don't know. It's one of these things I learned in school that there's stuff. It's like I originally studied price index theory in school because it sounded like a very boring subject. And because like the thing is that if you have a test to solve, like if you have to like do a test, you're gonna like have to, my God, what's going on with crime here? Oh, it's lack of enforcers. Oh, well, no, I've got an easy answer to that. Just take the guy on Subra and make him an enforcer. Or not. I tried. Anyways, yeah. So like, again, like you think of price index theory, right? Everybody cares a lot about inflation. Oh man, they're going for blood. Okay, so we need to make sure that we can hold that. I'm glad I got my armies out of there, but yeah, in any case, like, so like international trade is interesting. Growth is really interesting. This is the sort of stuff that I could probably pick up and like read in a textbook on my own without too much difficulty. But I don't know, like going out of my way to read about price index theory. Yeah, I'm probably not going to do that on my own time. But again, like the lesson out of school for me really was that if you have the right like angle, it actually does turn out that pretty much anything can become very fascinating. Okay. The AI is getting pretty clever here. They are... So, like, they looked like they were going to make a move on Chatlib, but instead it's moving on Homam, and it might turn around. The crime rate is the harmonic median. I actually don't think there's a harmonic median, because like the median is the 50th percentile. It deals with specifically its placement among all of the. But I get it. I know I'm being I know I'm being really tedious right now, and I'm sorry. You may have also studied something like that too, though. You're a Brazilian. You're not used to in-depth English math terms. Numbers are a universal language. Yeah, no, that's one. So one really big thing for me is that for a very large part of my life, I considered myself to not be a math person. And I still kind of think this, to be honest. You think you got it mostly, but please don't quiz you on it. I mean, where I can, I'd love to be more approachable on this thing for sure, on this stuff for sure. But I also sort of recognize my limits in some cases. Oh man, I don't know if they're going for the. I don't know if they're going for the full thing. Yeah, it looks like they are. So it's the right call to move into this system, but I'm not going to be able to hit these guys now. That sucks. I mean, I can split my fleets, but...
War can be a lucrative affair.
probably get out of the way. Yep, they're committed. And so are we. But yeah, one thing I really got to appreciate about... So again, I still kind of think... I still don't really think of myself as a math person, but I will definitely say that I gained a much greater appreciation for the subject, and particularly for what you're describing, Conan's, the idea of, you know, this is gonna sting. You know, having an unambiguous language to solve problems in is incredibly useful. I was really hoping we wouldn't lose this. Oh well, we'll just beat him up.
Planetary exploitation forecast complete.
Okay. Ton more stuff to fix. But yeah, just the ability to have a clear language to be able to sort of express the ideas, and to just sort of have an unambiguous look at the problem you were trying to solve, and to sort of know what things mean is incredibly helpful. You can just get... Actually, so, I mean, my background's econ, right? So there is a way of considering the way that people respond to John Maynard Keynes, who's a very gifted economist and, in fact, was a mathematician. But if you think of things like the general theory of, you know, money, employment, and interest, I hope I got that title right, not as many equations as if you read something like an Econometrica now. And you have a lot of different people sort of arguing about what Keynes meant. Even now, you have sort of these post-Keynesian types who are not really, let's say, mainstream, who are sort of claiming that, you know, this is what Keynes really meant. And you get this in philosophy a lot too. And sometimes there are some things that just can't be reduced down to equations. Although, you know, certainly there's at least very large branches of philosophy which do actually have incredibly formal language, and generally you've done something bad if you don't express them in those clear terms. And again, that is to benefit clarity, even though if you're sort of an outsider to that, it can actually be very off-putting and very difficult to understand. So I think one of the reasons why econ has taken the shape that it has is not necessarily that, you know, they're all jealous of physicists, although maybe there's a little bit of that going on as well. But it's just the fact that you are able to get so much more done if you have these very clear definitions and this very precise way of thinking about and reasoning through the problem. And all of that is mathematics. So like even though, again, I still don't really think of myself as a math person, it's very hard to deny how useful it is for getting the good work done. And I mean, again, just gives me an excuse to, like, the textbooks, if it was econ, if it was math, I actually don't think I kept a lot of computer science. I didn't do that much computer science, but econ and math for sure. Some of the philosophy I kept, like the Plato collected works I kept. Yeah, most of the other courses I didn't keep the textbooks. Math ones I definitely did, though. Math texts are never going to really get old. Okay, so I'm gonna try and rebuild my fleets as best as I can. So let's go, and I'm actually going to try and build them up to their ideal. So, you know what? Clean slate. I'm gonna stop writing my IOUs. I'm just gonna work this out here because I'm pretty much done for tonight. So 3 battleships. 2, 4, 5. 5 cruisers. Yeah, we really do need that many destroyers. Okay, so 7, 10, and 17's 27. And then 4, 5, so 9, 13 corvettes. So that is to rebuild. Pretty sure Plato isn't going to get much updates either. That's true, but what's interesting about Plato, or classics in general, so I actually asked, I had a really great classics professor at university, and I asked him kind of an offensive question at the start, and it was basically like, you know, I really like the course, and like, I'm sorry I don't have a better way of asking this, but like, Plato's not writing any new books. And we've been studying this stuff for thousands of years. Like, isn't this whole thing just like people rearranging the, you know, the chairs to, you know, keep getting tenure? And he took it well, and he actually pointed out that apparently there is actually quite a bit that's still being discovered. Maybe not necessarily from Plato. I believe the feeling on Plato is that we have everything that he had ever intended to be published, and then we have a number of works which may be from him, but we can't know for sure. I'm speaking specifically about the letters. But what I didn't appreciate was the fact that there is actually a fairly, I don't want to know if I should say constant, but that there's this pipeline of new stuff being discovered. And in fact, one of the texts we were reading had to make a comment about there being a new edition released because there was a belief that this author had actually written 2 works with seemingly contradictory sort of views. So there was this question of like, which one came first, which one was sort of the reflection of his mature thinking. And it turns out it was actually irrefutably all one work. And so, of course, now you need to like reconsider what you'd previously thought about this thinker. And there's one really appealing thing about that field, which is that, you know, if you want to be a theoretical physicist, you kind of need access to things like a particle accelerator, and those don't come cheap. Whereas if you are, you know, working with classics, there is, I guess, that boundary of, if you're in like classics, you know, obviously the prof that I had knows how to read ancient Greek. So, you know, he can translate those works, whereas I would only ever encounter them in translation. But there is something very exciting about the fact that essentially you have the same tools that the experts do. And to a certain extent, you're all working with the same fragments, trying to gain an understanding of a culture very different from ours, but obviously a very important one for, you know, our own development, particularly. I mean, I love literature, right? So there's a lot, there's a lot in there. And it's just very interesting. You know, it's hard to think of a lot of examples where I would have sort of access to sort of the same material as a, you know, as an world-class expert, let's say. And that was to me at least, that was a very interesting way of looking at that field. Okay. There was one other thing that I wanted to do for this fleet. So, 2, -1, 10, 18. Okay, so in total I'm going to want 5 battleships, 4 cruisers. Jesus. 37 destroyers. And 31 corvettes. I'm not going to do it in that order, though. So these are for the upgrade to the main fleet. So I don't want to go over, so I need 4 cruisers and all of the destroyers. Okay. If you're too broke for physics, go philosophy. Yeah. I think there's a joke where there's like a school administrator complaining to the physicists, you know, why can't you be like the math department? You know, they only need like paper and pencils and the wastebasket. And no, actually, you should be more like the philosophy department. They just need the pencils and papers, or something like that. The joke was definitely told better when I heard it, but because I do really like philosophy, but I do realize that there is a certain type that gets attracted to that field sometimes that you know, doesn't always represent it very well. Anyways, let's get this election out of the way, and I think I'm going to call it tonight because I've clearly started to veer off Stellaris, and there's a lot. I know I haven't advanced that much of the timeline, and that's just because there's a lot for me to think about. So Dorbax is my existing ruler, and certainly like the reduction to ship upkeep, improvement to build speed and all of that, that's all great, but we do have a pretty good navy right now. So I think in this case we'll abstain. We have elected Tolaxir, previously governor on Nadal, to become the next ruler, and they've got a secure the borders agenda. So this is actually not a bad one, in my opinion. Essentially, I'm probably going to want to bulk up a bunch of my star bases. I'm going to inherit 2 when I finally take over the, the territory. I actually kind of need to... This is actually a little bit of a dicey proposition because I need to be able to defend all of this stuff, and they do have some pretty strong fleets to kind of kick around and take those gains from me. But I do want to enforce my demands, and I can only do that when I actually have everything that we're fighting over. But like I said, the point of this was to sort of give them a bit of a bloody nose, and as it is, I think they still count as being equivalent. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to build up, but this whole effort to try and vassalize them might have actually been a bit of a waste of time. But the overall plan, try and take the best fights that I can. Where I can, just wipe out a valuable fleet for them. When it comes to my own fleets, we obviously want to get as many ships out as we can to try and improve, improve the quality of our ships. It'd be great if I can get a 4th fleet up and running, even if I'm not going to be running with a Titan with them. I don't really mind going over the naval capacity because I've got tons of money anyway. And there's no question, like, we're going to win this war. But the question's going to be, how devastated do I leave these guys? And is there a way that I can... is there a way that I'm going to be able to try and subjugate them? Oh, actually, this is good news. So the Tecaris are starting to nibble away at their territory, so that might distract some of their fleets. Yeah, as for the rest of it, though, the big goal was to gain the L cluster, which we did, and it's a thing of beauty. And it turns out that these guys got a little greedy, so we now share a border with them. And if I have an opportunity, I will definitely try and vassalize them. So you've noticed that a lot of the species have really started to bulk out. We may do the same. Like, this is definitely mine. There'll probably be some competition for this, but if they start kind of encroaching into this area, I'm definitely going to move out and around. Like, all I really need to do is move out of Castor into Orgleon. And effectively, that kind of halts their advance. Taking a look at the board, Yeah, if I wanted, looks like I could... I could basically make any of these my vassal. Sorry, actually, the one exception is the Miravandia Imperial Sons. Those I would need to try and... Yeah, they're equivalent across everything. Actually, they're going to be a bit of a contender for my position, I think. So I may want to push them down. Oh, they're so friendly. I was going to offer them subsidiary status, but yeah, it's the fact they're in the Federation. So I got to see if there's a way that I can crack this Federation somehow. Okay, so before I go, let's see if there's something I can do. This might... Okay, so this might be on the basis of outdated. Okay, well again, this is not a hard calculation to do if they've got a base weight of... Alright, this one I am going to use a calculator for, because otherwise we'll be here all night. So... Ah, darn it, sorry. So 1087, 1012 for pops. I need to make sure that it's the base values I'm using. 1241. Actually, you know what? I can do this at the advanced values too. So 9,000 for... That doesn't make any sense. What do my numbers look like? Okay, no, actually that could be a legitimate number. Which means they've got a terrifying fleet, if that's true. So 2436 from tech. 1737 from economy. Okay, it might be... May not be that bad after all. I am glad to see, though, that I finally eclipsed the Loxongrak Var for size, though. Anyways, once upon a time, I would have been able to vassalize these guys, and it's a shame that I'm not able to now. But yeah, if I can cut these guys down to size, I can start vassalizing members of their federation. So the remaining question would be, okay, so their arrival with the Tecarus link and us. Interesting. Maybe I should just declare my rivalry then. Yeah, if we can cut these guys down to size, that opens the possibility of vassalizing, things like the Confederation of Zacho and friends. Why can't we form a federation? I mean, it's a hive mind. It may not necessarily want to join the federation. Okay, next week. I'm going to have to try and figure out the dilemma between this fleet and this fleet. I think I'm just going to have to accept the loss in one of the areas and then reclaim it. But again, the chance to vaporize some of their fleets is definitely a good one. We'll win the war. We just want to win the war in a way that we can sort of maximally damage their fleets and hope that they can't rebuild in time within 10 years. We do have a new rival, so I'm probably going to want to try and figure out what I can do with the Miravandia Imperial Sons. Yeah, I mean, looking at I have pretty good eyes on their fleet. I know the game says that my view of it is outdated, but, like, I don't really see anything here that makes me say, oh God, I hope they don't bring that, after me. Obviously, if I take the one on, I'm going to have to take on the entire Federation. That makes things kind of scary, which is why I sort of want to batten down the hatches as far as my defensive platforms are concerned. But like, just look at these things, right? 50k, like, they're definitely going to have a hard time trying to crack that, even if they bring their entire Federation's fleets. So I'm trying to figure out why exactly they count as equivalent, but the game has a really good the game has a really good way of showing me how bad my assumptions on some of this stuff is. And maybe at a certain point I just say, you know what, screw it, we're going to expand, we're going to blob out. Don't worry about empire size. We'll just build research facilities to overcome it. But we'll handle that after we take some territory off the Loxon Grakva Royal States, and we'll see if there's a way that we can prioritize the wars that we get into. As always, thank you very much for watching, particularly those of you who are new to the channel. I know I kind of lost steam at the end there, because I do have a tendency to ramble about things that I find interesting, but only I find interesting. Hey, Key Orion, thank you very much for that. Let me just take a quick look and see who's online. I know Johnny was online a little bit earlier, and he is a hell of a show to watch. Oh, he's back on Fortnite. I wonder, is Kitch on? Sorry, I just want to take a quick second here. Thank you, Conans. Yeah, sorry, I'm just taking a second here to see if there's anyone I know online. I mean, I can host Johnny. He might be going offline soon, but there's just one last thing I want to see is maybe if there's Industries of Titan or Phantom Brigade. Aha! Okay, you know what? We're going to do something a little different here. I always appreciate it, Olaf. Okay, guys, I don't really know who this streamer is, but there's a streamer called Heretic Soul, and they are streaming a... they're actually streaming a game that I really like called Phantom Brigade by Brace Yourself Games. Brace Yourself is the company whose games I will always be playing on Wednesdays. Phantom Brigade is a turn-based mech tactics game, very cinematic. It's really, really well done. Unfortunately, I do find when I try to host people for it, it's usually quite empty. So, again, I'll host Heretic Soul. I hope it's good. Phantom Brigade is a very streamable game, so I think even if you're a hack streamer like me, it will make it look good. But I'd appreciate if you all hang around, because this is a game I actually really would love to see get some more support. I will not be playing it Wednesday because there's going to be an Industries of Titan patch that comes out. But I am going to be playing Brace Yourself's other game on Wednesday, and I do pretty regularly play Phantom Brigade. So if that seems like your kind of thing, I will toss you over there. As for me, I'll be back Wednesday, hopefully with a more stable internet connection for Industries of Titan. And then on Friday, I'm not 100% sure what the game will be. You can let me know if you're interested in something in particular, but we will work that out as the week goes by. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.